Hi, I'm Rebecca and today we're looking at 10 sweater patterns that I'm looking forward to casting on in autumn or winter. So hi, welcome, my name's Rebecca and this channel is the Creabea Knitting Podcast. And today we're doing something a little bit different. I was going through my stash recently and pulling out some yarn and thinking about my plans for the upcoming months. The weather has taken a bit of a turn. I mean, it's still pretty warm, but there's like a chill in the air. There's like, you can just hear it like sweater weather, sweater weather. So I am thinking about what I'm casting on. And I thought I would put together a video of the 10 patterns that I am hoping or I'm thinking about. I don't think I'll get them all done because 10 is a lot. But this is like what's the top of my queue. It includes some colour work, some texture, some wardrobe basics, a gift knit, and I also have a couple of sweater quantities of yarn in stash with no plans. So I thought at the end I can show them and I can see how, like if anyone has any suggestions for what to do with those. Because I am a bit stuck. So I put together a list. Let's start at the top. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the pattern and the yarn and I'll pop a picture here so you can see exactly the pattern that I'm talking about. So the very first yarn is this. This is a skein from Rauwerk. Rauwerk are a German yarn company. It's amazing. It says on it 100% merino wool from a single flock in Munich. Shearing took place in Munich in 2017-2018. The yarn was spun in an area of Bavaria that I'm not going to try and pronounce in autumn 2018. It is a 2-ply woolen spun, so it's real bouncy and like a very rounded yarn. And 100 grams is 300 meters. So it is like a sport weight yarn. I have 4 skeins of this. I picked it up in February at Unravel, and this is the colour Obsidian. And you can see it's like a real, it looks very similar to the colour of my wall, but it's a real like speckled grey. And the sweater that I'm going to knit with this is the Birch Pullover by Andrea Mowry. It is I mean, I'm planning to, but I might run into some difficulties. It is a top-down sweater and it's knit in half fisherman's rib. As I'm saying this, I don't know if I have enough yarn for this, but my plan is to knit the Birch Pullover by Andrea Mowry and half fisherman's rib. That sweater is a fingering weight sweater and I love the design, but not enough to knit it in fingering weight. So I have the pattern, and what I did was I checked at my gauge how many stitches would I need around the bust for it to fit using a DK weight yarn. And then I picked a pattern in a size in the pattern that was closest to that size. So I think if I make size 1 or 2, I will get the equivalent of like size 4 or 5, which would fit me in DK weight gauge. That has been the plan since I bought this yarn, but literally as I say it out loud, I am wondering if I'm going to have enough yarn for that, because it is a half fisherman's rib, which does take up a lot of yardage. If I don't do that, my alternative would be the Everyday Sweater by Andrea Mowry, which is sport weight. It's basically made for this yarn. Maybe I should do that instead. I don't know. I do love the Birch Pullover and I will definitely knit it at a bigger gauge because I want the sweater, but I do not want to knit a fingering weight half fisherman's rib sweater. But yeah, so that is my first pan. I guess this is kind of 2. Like, I will use this yarn either for the Everyday Pullover or for the Birch, but I will definitely be knitting the Birch at some point in the next few months. I feel like I should have started with one that was easier instead of starting with the one which I need to do some more maths to see if it works out. But yeah, this yarn is real. It's like, it's rustic, but it's still pretty soft. Like, there's no tickle. It's still a little bit scratchy. But I've been excited for this for a while and this needs to get knit up this season because I want to wear it. Okay, number 2 is the Emmerson Pullover by Vivian I'm not sure. I followed this maker on Instagram for a long time. She also designs sewing patterns and has like a real classic look. So like a really lovely pair of like tailored trousers. She's bought a few shirts before, and I've never made any of her patterns before, but I really love the Emmerson pullover. It looks quite like gender neutral, very boxy, and again, is it in half fisherman's rib? I swear I didn't plan this. I want to say it's in half fisherman's rib. All the patterns I'm talking about are fully size inclusive, so I'm pretty sure they all go from like a extra small to a 5XL, something that's really important to me, and this is no exception. And the yarn that I plan to use for that is Woolyknit Diggle DK in this green colour. Now it's in a bag, and I'm not taking it out of the bag because this is the easiest way to store this. So this is it. You can see through the plastic a little bit. Maybe I should just take one out. Okay, so I squeezed one out of the bag, and this is the yarn. It is this beautiful, like rich green. It's called Celtic Nepp, and as you can see, it has like little tweedy bits in it. I think this would make a very good like masculine style sweater, and that's why I think the Emmerson is the way to go. I've got 10 balls of this yarn. I actually think I might have a couple more just stored somewhere else. I have a very organised storage system. It's 97% pure British wool, and it's 3% silk, and the silk is the Nepps. And 50 grams is 122 meters. So I think I have 14 balls. I think I've got a couple more somewhere. So yeah, I bought this because I made a gift knit for my stepdad for Christmas, and originally this was going to be my main colour. Now I changed and used like the neutral, like the beige Nepp, but I still have some of this, and I think it was beautiful to work with. It wears really well, and so the idea of making an all over sweater in this, I can just see this with like jeans and boots and like a nice big jacket in the winter. If I had a dog to walk, this would be a good like dog walking outfit. I live in a flat in the city, there's no dog. But that's the plan for this. So Woolyknit Diggle DK and the Emmerson Pullover by Vivian. That's all I can remember. Do you ever have this where you only remember someone's Instagram handle and you don't remember their name? And then sometimes you meet them in real life and you only know their Instagram. That is some very modern day struggles. Okay, let's see which one is next on my list. Okay, this I think I'm casting on, like, I might swatch today. This is going to be the Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. It is a super classic drop shoulder sweater with a real like chunky collar, and it's knit with a fingering weight yarn and a mohair. And I've made this sweater before. I made it using Drops alpaca and Sandnes Garn tin silk mohair, and it is maybe my favourite sweater. I love the fit, I love the drape. I find myself reaching for it, like I was wearing it this morning. I find myself reaching for it all the time, and it feels just like time for another one of those in my wardrobe. So when I bought this yarn, this is what I had in mind, and I've been like umming and ahhing because it's silly. I feel like I should save this yarn for a nicer projects, but then it's my favourite sweater, so I should just make another one in this yarn. But I'm like going in circles. So the yarn is this, which is Mondim. Mondim's a sock yarn from Rauwerk Pomar, made in Portugal. I have no idea what the colour of this is. I mean, it's green. I can tell you it's green, but I don't know what the name is. It's 100% Portuguese wool. It is, does it have the yardage? 385 meters per 100 grams. It's really rustic. I've made socks in this before, but I've never used it for a sweater. And I just think like, hi. It's really close to my eye colour, so I think this is going to be like a very complimentary thing to wear. And again, very autumnal. And I'm going to pair it with my favourite mohair Filcolana Tilia in the colour slate green. So this is the look. It's very like army khaki colour. I'm excited for this. This is a very like product knit. Like I want the end piece. I think I'll enjoy knitting it, but I want the finished goods. I only have 4 balls of this, so it might be a little bit more cropped than my current version, but I don't know. We will wait and see. I'll just knit until I don't have any space anymore to knit. I am leaving in about a week to go, less than a week, goodness. Today's Wednesday, and on, well yeah, next Tuesday we are going to Belfast and then on to Dublin. So this to me feels like the most Irish thing I could cast on. And so I think I'm going to take maybe a ball of this and 2 balls of mohair as like my, we're only taking backpacks, so I'm going to be a little limited for space, but I think this would be my perfect cast on for the Ireland trip. Like just imagine Giant's Causeway, me my knitting, yeah. So that is there. In fact, I'm going to put this yarn here because I'm going to swatch with it afterwards. I'm not going to put it away with the rest of them. So that is my probably most likely to cast on next. Stockholm sweater by Petite Nepp. There are 2 sweaters actually, the Stockholm and the Oslo. And I did a lot of research into understanding the difference when I first made the Stockholm. From what I gather, they're pretty much the same. I think the Oslo recommends more ease, but that's just a case of preference. And I think the Oslo is 2 strands of mohair and this is 1 strand of fingering mohair. But the gauge is the same, the construction is the same. So I'll be using the Stockholm pattern. Okay, what is next? Okay, my next sweater is one of my own designs and it will be the 3rd sample of this sweater because I just keep thinking about new colours for it to be in and I just want to knit it in those colours. So the sweater is the Kerr sweater. I could put a picture. This is a sweater. I just started my test knit for this. It is a drop shoulder colourwork design, so it's got colourwork around like the middle of the bust and over the top of the arms. And I've knit both my samples in a 110cm bust and they both fit lovely, but I really want a bigger one, like an oversized one. And I need it. I need it in grey and white. Now, I don't have the yarn that I think I'm going to use in stash, but I have pretty close to it. So this is Holst yarn. I'm currently using this on a project, which is why I'm not using it for this, because these 2 yarns I'm currently like using in a whip. So I won't have enough for the sweater. So this is what I'll use as the main colour, and this is what I'll use as the contrast. Now I am going to use it in Woolyknit British wool. I made my first sample in Woolyknit British wool. I love Woolyknit British wool. It's super affordable. The colours are amazing. And I'm pretty sure in like a week there's going to be a discount code, which to be honest is already so well priced that I don't have to wait for the discount code, but I know there's one coming, so that's good to know. And I've not 100% decided the colours, but I do have some shade cards. So my plan is to look at my shade cards and to decide the colour, but I'm thinking like a real dark, I really want like a dark, this is Oxford from Holst, I want like a dark grey and the colourwork to be in like an off-white. This is maybe too bright. I'd maybe go for like a more of an oatmeal and less of a white. So yeah, don't quite have the yarn for that. I will make this a size up, so the sweater is in like 10cm increments, so I will be making the 120cm size. I want it now. Again, these are really like product driven sweaters. I just want the end thing. I want to knit it, but really I want to own it. Like I want to have already knitted this. So yeah, I won't be using these yarns, but I will be using these colours. That being said, the test has just started and people are making their versions in insane colours, and now I want like 10 versions. Like imagine like a burgundy with a white colourwork, or like a really low contrast, like a grey and a pale grey and a white. So yeah, I have another colourwork project which I'm getting to, and I want to cast that on first. And I think once I get through the colourwork yoke on that one, I'll be ready to start with the Kerr. I finished 2 samples, so I think I need a little breather before I go back into it. But yeah, the Kerr sweater by me in like dark grey and white. I feel that's more winter than autumn, potentially. Okay, my next one is a big question mark in that I have the yarn, but I just haven't quite settled on what pattern. So this is the yarn. It's a big bag of drops. There was a drop sale at Wool Warehouse. There are always drop sales at Wool Warehouse and I love it. And so I've got, actually, yeah, do I have enough? I don't have enough. I think I bought this yarn with, oh no I do. I was going to say I bought this yarn with the intention of making a ranunculus for my mum, and then I changed my mind. So do I have enough of this? I do have enough of this. So this is Drops Flora. It is they do quite a few like alpaca wool blend, and this one is more alpaca and less wool, and I think Lima is more, no, this is more wool, less alpaca, and Lima is more alpaca, less wool. So it's 65% wool, 35% alpaca. Can't do any maths today. And it is 50 gram balls. This one bit is hanging out and like just frustrating me. Like, go home. Where do you live? So it is 210 meters per 50 grams. So it's pretty much a perfect fingering weight, and it's also a real true black. Like, I find that I've heard that black is really hard to dye, and I think commercial often does it best in terms of like a true black. And to pair with that, we've got some super simple Drops Mohair, which is actually slightly less of a true black. Drops Kidsilk, and I need a classic black sweater. My phone went, I was interrupted. Okay, so I really want a classic black sweater. I want something I'll pull on all the time. I have quite a lot of dresses, so I think it'd go really nice with a dress. And my go-to would be to make the Stockholm again. But I just keep knitting Petite knit patterns, and there's nothing wrong with that if I love a Petite knit pattern. But I feel like I'm missing out on some great other designers by only knitting like really popular patterns. So I have 3 options actually. The first option is to knit the Dear Duomo sweater. I have this pattern, and this pattern has some incredible detailing. You look at it and you think, oh, it's a drop shoulder construction. However, there's short row shaping, and there's like body shaping, there's arm, like there's so much detail to it that on the one hand, I think this is going to make the most classic, well-fitting ever simple plastic sweater. On the other hand, is it going to be a bit fussy to knit? I'm not sure. So that's my first option. And also with black yarn, I guess like I don't really want it to be something that's going to be hard to knit. Like, I don't want it to pick up lots of stitches because black is like a nightmare to see. So I think something that's like straightforward is easiest, which leads me to my second option, which is the classic by Espace Tricot. Espace Tricot have some amazing free patterns, and I've never knit a single one of them, and I don't know why, because they look amazing. There's the gingerbread sweater, there is the turtle dove, there are a lot of shawls. There's that striped one that looks amazing. So there's a lot out there, and again, it's a free pattern. It's got like 800 projects on Ravelry, so you can really see what other knitters have done, how it fits, all those things. And so I think it's also a top-down raglan, and of course that means there's less, like there are pretty much no picking up of stitches, like under the arm maybe. Super simple construction. I'm not sure I want the high neck, but that's a modification I could make. Like, I could probably knit the high neck, and if I don't like it, I can fold it over and sew it down because I do love a folded collar. So that's what I'm thinking. Are there other really classic sweaters out there that I should be knitting? And if you know of designers which are making great basics that aren't Petite knit, nothing wrong with Petite knit, but I've given her so much money. I want to like discover new designers, and I find myself like, I know it's a tricky thing. Like, I know that her patterns will fit me. I know I will love them. I don't think I've had, touch wood, I've never really had any issues with Petite knit patterns. They're well priced, they're super classic, and so I go back to them. And of course there's nothing wrong with that, except am I missing out? I think I'm missing out. So yeah, the classic I bet is fast Tricot or something else, potentially. Recommendations, please. Okay, I think we're halfway. We're not quite, oh, we are halfway. We're halfway. So 4 more. Sorry, all the mohair, as usual, is going up my nose. So, talking of only wanting to knit petite knit patterns, I really would like a classic cable knit sweater. And there are so many out there, and I'm struggling to find one that I love. So I would like an oversized, again, quite like gender neutral, looks like a sweater that's been handed down through the generations. It's worn the test of time. Like, that's the vibe I'm going for, and a real classic colour. So I have the yarn for this. I bought this yarn with something else in mind, and then I bought mohair to match, and the mohair didn't match. So this is the yarn. Again, it's in a packet because, and I'm not taking this one out because it's all sealed up. Like properly sealed up, not with tape, just sealed. But you can see the colour pretty well. There we go. Kind of, without the glare. This is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool. I've got actually one more ball of this next door. So yeah, Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool, and I think the colour is Dijon. And this is super amazing yarn. I've knit with it before. It's very, very soft. It's pretty affordable. The colours are beautiful. I find it comparable to like a Cascade 220. And from what I've heard, it wears very well. And I like it a lot. I think I need to pick up some more. I have 110 meters, and I think for like an oversized cable knit sweater, I need like another 3 or 4 balls. That's okay. I might have an issue with dye lots, but let's hope not. We'll just order them and see what happens. And the sweater that I want to knit with this is the Moby by Petite Knit. It's not come out yet, it's being advertised. I think it's just stunning. But it's just that Petite Knit has got a grip on me like no other designer, and that I want to knit everything she makes, maybe. So last year I made the Billy Pullover by Sari Nordland, which is very, very classic. It's a raglan all over cable sweater, and I don't love the fit of mine. That honeycomb cable, somebody once left a comment and told me that the honeycomb cable is sometimes known as like the boa constrictor cable or the boa stitch, because the cables are twisting, like all the cables are twisting both ways, and so it like really cinches you in, and I just don't find it comfortable. I find like I always feel like it's just a bit too tight, and it's annoying because there's quite a lot of ease in it and still it feels too tight. So I love the sweater. I mean, I put so much effort and work into it. I'm not parting with it anytime soon, but I don't wear it, which is ridiculous. So I want to avoid something with honeycomb cables because I've had a bit of a bad go with honeycomb cables. And otherwise, I don't know. Again, help. Because otherwise I'm going to cast on the Moby and make the Moby, which I think I could love. I'm a bit nervous about those twisted stitches on the front. I'm a combination knitter, and I find that twisted stitches don't always work out for me. Especially when I'm knitting flat. So it just requires a bit of brain work, I think, if I'm going to knit that one. Otherwise, what else? I've done some scrolling on Ravelry. I find that the really classic ones that I love are not size inclusive. And a lot of the ones that are size inclusive are very like modern takes on it. And I don't really want like dainty cables. Like I want like a proper fisherman sweater. So yeah. Cable knit sweater, TBC, TBD, to be decided, not continued, TBD. Maybe the Moby, maybe someone's going to swoop in to the comments and give me a great recommendation for an Oliver Cable Work sweater from a size inclusive designer. Maybe. I hope so. Okay, I promise that's me done with Petite Knit, I think. Is it? It is! Okay. So I only have 2 more that I actually have yarn for, and then 2 more that I do not have yarn for. So the first one I do have yarn for, I am so excited for. And this is the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May Designs. I've owned this, oh, it's called the Classic Light, sorry, it's Light, the fingering weight Virgin. I've owned the sweater pattern for maybe a year and I've never cast it on, and I don't know why not, because I want to knit one. I think I've been looking for the perfect yarn, and then I bought the yarn for it and cast on a v-neck instead, and I don't really know why, because I think I would have enjoyed the raglan more. Anyway, so fingering weight pattern, it's an amazing pattern. Jessie May puts so much work into her patterns. They're super size inclusive, they fit really well. There's so many like extra little details in there. She does like budget, like yarn choices with various budgets. Yeah, just like all props to her, and I really want to knit more of her designs, and this is where I'm going to start. And the yarn I have for this is exciting. So this is the Kinross reply from We County Yarns. Yeah. So it's spun in Scotland, it's 100% wool, and it is 100% lamb's wool, super fine lamb's wool. And so right now it's pretty soft, but there's like no itch factor at all. When this is washed and blocked, it feels like cashmere. It is so soft, it's amazing. I've seen it now at I think 2 shows, like 2 festivals, and once in a yarn shop. And every time I touch it, I have to talk myself out of leaving with a sweater quantity in every colour. They have like this colour, like a wine red. They've also got a really beautiful green. Their colours are amazing. I've already got a sweater's quantity in their porridge, which is their oatmeal colour, and I'm slowly working through the sleeves of that pattern. But this, I'm making myself finish that one because I desperately want this one. Just think of like, it's basically the equivalent of like a grey cashmere classic sweater. This feels like the most wardrobe staple item in existence. And if I didn't have a fingering weight sweater on my needles right now, I would be winding this up and casting it on. But I've told myself I have to finish that one before I can cast another fingering weight sweater. This colour is Granite. And again, like, this is, can you tell that we have a bit of a theme in the kind of colours I want in my wardrobe right now? But this, I'm super excited for. I think it'll look a little bit like my school uniform sweater, but in a good way, if there is such a thing. So yeah, I've got 6 balls of, skeins of this, hanks of this. It's 205 meters per 100 grams, per 50 grams, and it's fingering weight. 205 meters per 50 grams, did I say that? So yes, this again is kind of the same as this. Like these, I want them now. I need to wear them now. I have the outfits for them ready. Like we're wearing this holiday to Ireland, and this would be perfect for this trip. It's not very cold yet, but like a little bit of sweater, light sweater, chuck in your bag. But I can't because I don't have it knit up yet. So as soon as I finish my other sweater that's fingering weight, I will be casting this one on immediately. And I'm super excited to try Jessie May pattern. It's tricky because I find a lot of her designs, I really wanted to knit the Great Gingham raglan, but a few of her other designs I'm not crazy about, but I want to knit her patterns, and that like she writes them, designs them, tests them in such a beautiful way that I want to support her, and that's the kind of design I want to buy from. But I'm not always sold, like I'm not a huge fan of some of like the really deep V's or some of the summer things, so I'm excited to knit something really classic from her. Okay, the next one. I almost cast this on last night. I was putting together my list last night, and I was sitting there, and I kind of cleared off a lot of my needles right now. I mean, I still have like 5 projects going, but it was clearing off a little bit. It was getting there, and I was determined, like, I'll cast this on. And I thought, no. Firstly, you have to swatch, but secondly, show it when you film tomorrow, and then you can cast on. I think today, like, the castonitis has settled a little bit, and I think I will wait till I'm back from the trip to cast this one on, but this is a piece of colour work, and it's stunning. So this sweater is the Roots and Shoots sweater by, I want to say Teti Lusak, but I'm definitely mispronouncing that. This designer has some stunning designs, like next level beautiful, incredibly size inclusive, and really stuff that I feel like I'm not seeing elsewhere. And this one has got, so the roots is like this corrugated ribbing around the arms and the hem, and then the shoots are some floral bits along the top. I'm definitely knitting the shoots. I might not knit the roots. I'm not sold on the corrugated ribbing. I just find it, I think it's stunning in the pattern. I just don't know if I want my version to have that, but that's okay. That's why we knit. We can customize. So the yarn for this is special. This yarn I received almost a year ago in my yarn swap box with Mega, who is the podcaster behind the Skeins of Dreams podcast. We sent each other a box of yarn last year, and this is, I've not used any of it, and it's amazing. Like, every single skein she sent me is stunning, and I think I'm just scared to cast it on, and it feels like it needs a very special project, and this is a perfect example of that. So the first one, the main colour, is this, and this is Peace Fleece, which feels a bit like a bucket list yarn. So this is 75% Navajo. I feel like I'm saying that right, but it doesn't sound right when it comes out of my mouth. Navajo Rambouillet and domestic fine wool, and 25% mohair. It is 350 yards for 113 gram skein. And it's, so yeah, it's a sport weight. I think it's a sport weight. Light DK, sport weight. I don't really understand yards in general, to be honest. I think a yard is 1.13 meters. So it's probably like 320 meters. I don't know. Yeah, this colour. Oh, this colour is wrongly labelled. I remember this, and I don't know what the real, like, it's labelled as mushroom, and this is obviously not the mushroom. Maybe it is, but I don't think it's the mushroom colourway. And I'm sure that at the time Mega told me the colour labels are wrong. So what's really exciting is that what's the word? Peace Fleece are like a very, oh, it says right on the front of the band, DK weight. I just read the band. Such a dafty, why do I do this to myself? Peace Fleece are really cool because they are really committed to like social issues. So in the past they've worked with, like, I think stemmed out of like the Cold War, and they brought sheep from Russia to the US. And now they work with Indigenous communities. We work to support pastoral communities that have been historically in conflict with the US. Currently, we are working with the Navajo to offer fair market prices for the Rambouillet sheep wool raised by families in the Navajo Nation. Our yarn is made of this wool, blended with domestic fine wool and mohair for strength. We love what we do, and we hope you will too. So when I opened this, I almost cried. It came in like a sack, is it called Hassan? No, what's it called? Hessian sack. Which we keep with our potatoes in them in the cupboard. So that gets a lot of use. So I'm very excited to cast this on, and when I saw the pattern last night I was like, that's it, like that is what I'm casting on. Hope I get gauge. My contrast is incredibly soft, and this also was in the box, and this is Bare Naked Wools by Knit Spot, and this is the Stone Soup DK, made in the USA. It's 300 yards per 115 grams, so it is a little bit thicker, but I think that's okay. We'll see. It's again 115 grams. It's a 2-ply yarn, and this has an amazing list of the colour is marble, sorry. So it's 80% wool, which is a blend of Rambouillet, Columbia, Lincoln, and Churro. 15% alpaca and llama, and 5% combination of tencel, bamboo, silk, and bison. So yeah, 2 very special yarns, and I think this will be stunning. This is the main colour, and this is the contrast, and I think I'll have a little bit of this left over afterwards, which I might, like, I don't know, make something cute with the leftovers. So yeah, this I'm thinking, honestly, I was like, I've got nothing I'm going to cast on soon, like my world's open. I'll cast on maybe something in the next couple of weeks, and now I have 5 things that I want to cast on today. But this again, I think this will make for a good autumnal knit. I start a new job in just under 2 weeks, and I feel like if I've got my simple Stockholm sweater as like my plain basic knit, and then I've got sometimes you want to relax by really engaging your brain. Maybe you don't, sometimes I do. And I think colour work is rhythmic and it's challenging and something's going on, but I find it very relaxing. So I'm thinking this could be my relaxing new job in the evenings colour work project. Okay, so that is everything that I have the yarn for, but I have 2 more things which I do not, I mean, one I definitely have yarn for, I just don't know if I'll use that yarn, and the other one I don't have yarn for. So one is a pom-pom pattern, and it is the Cloudbow Dress. And this is a bit more like aspirational, like I want to knit this, but do I want to knit this? But I want to, but do I? It is a mohair dress. It's a mohair dress, that's it, it's a mohair dress. I wear quite a lot of dresses, and it's very similar in like construction to the dresses that I wear. So they're kind of like midi length, puffy sleeve, round neck. Like I have that dress in fabric in my wardrobe in 5 colours, so why not have one in wool? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think I'm gonna need a certain motivational push to actually go and do it. And I also don't know what colour. I think the best would be black. So I would need to go get some black yarn, which is fine. I can get some black yarn. And I need to work out what on earth to wear underneath it. But yeah, it's a pattern from Pom Pom magazine, their Dreamscapes edition, which I think was hugely popular. I bought the magazine, I have it. Maybe I should swatch, like, will that get me in the mood for it? The alternative is there is just a Cloudbow top, which is the same but just a top version. Maybe I should start there and see if it's very wearable. And if it is wearable, I should make the dress version. I just came up with that right now, and that is a great idea. And I definitely have mohair to make the top version, I think. I haven't even looked at the yardages. I've done nothing. I don't know what the gauge is. I just know I want it. Kat from Heather and Hops made, I think, 2 of them. And then I saw Charlotte from Nervous Fibre wearing one. Actually, not even in real life. I saw it in a picture and I thought I need that. And I think I saw her sample hanging up recently and I thought, yep, that's some of me. But I'm not sure if it is me. It's like me elevated. Do I want to be elevated? I don't know. So yeah, the Cloudbow Dress from Pom Pom magazine in mohair. It's on the list. Far down the list, but it's on the list. And my final pattern is in fact a Petite knit pattern. I thought I was done. I am not. It is a gift though. I really want to knit the zipper sweater men for my stepdad. As I said, I made him a sweater for Christmas, no, for his birthday in May, and it doesn't, like, it needs some fit issues. The collar needs to be, it's a very wide neck, so I need to like add some more length to the neck and the body. So it's not perfect, but I do feel like I need to redeem myself, and I think the zipper sweater would be perfect. And I think I will use Drops Alaska, which is like a chunky iron weight, and I think I saw, I'm sure on the pattern page that some people had made it. I have the pattern, that's as far as I've gone with it. And I think I will use Drops Alaska in a colourway olive, but there are a lot of colours in there I think you'd wear. There's an oatmeal one that I also think looks lovely. Maybe I make the oatmeal one. I did tell my mum, I was like, I'm gonna make this, here are the colours, and she was like, yeah, great. So yeah, that will be coming. And I need to balance it with, like, I don't want to start too early, but also it is a men's sweater, so I probably don't want to leave it too late. I'm not really sure. So yeah, that is definitely something I'll be knitting before Christmas because I plan to give it as a Christmas gift. So yeah, zipper sweater by Petite Knit men, and I also have the women's one, and my plan is to knit the men's one and see if I like knitting it, and if I do, I will be making myself one because I can really see that being something I would get a lot of wear out of in like the colder months. Now I almost want mine now. Maybe I should make mine first and then make his. No, I should make his first. I feel like filming this video, like I think I was a little bit light on knitting mojo, and this video has me like ravenous for knitting. I want to put everything down, cancel my plans for the next 3 weeks and sit and knit, but I won't, but I want to. Okay, there's one final category, which is yarn that I have but don't have plans for. There's more yarn in my stash than what I've shown today. Don't be fooled. This is a fraction. I'd say maybe like a quarter of what I have. Yeah, about a quarter. However, I do have a couple of sweater quantities that I have no plans for, and I'm just struggling a bit with motivation for those, so I thought I would show them, and maybe someone else has come across a great plan or a great idea and can share those with me. The first one is in a bag. Excuse the rambling. So this was a birthday gift, I think 2 years ago? Maybe last year in August, I reckon. I received a gift voucher for Jameson and Smith. I'm checking if it's Jameson's of Shetland or Jameson's and Smith. It's Jameson's and Smith. And I bought this sweater quantity with the intention of making a Birkin by Caitlin Hunter. Since then, I've changed my mind and I no longer want to make the Birkin. I'm just not crazy about a colourwork sweater, and I think there have been some fit issues, and I know there's an update, but like I just don't think it's for me. I just don't think the colourwork, like I love the idea of the flowers, and now I hate the idea of the flowers. I will probably in a year's time want to make it again. But there was a version on Ravelry that was completely stunning and I completely loved it, and so I bought the yarn with the intention of making that exact copy. Like I bought the same colours and everything. So now I have that. So I've got, how many of these? I think I have like 10 balls of the main colour, which is a lot. So this is the colour Stone. I think it's the only one with a name. The rest all just have lots. And 2-ply jumper weight, 100% Shetland wool, 25 grams is 115 meters. So it's a real light fingering weight. And this is the base colour. So I have a lot of this. I'm going to count. So I have 11 balls of this. So I have enough of this, I think, to make a sweater without using any of the contrast yarn. Probably like a crop sweater, but still a sweater. And I don't know what to do. Is this like another cozy classic in the future? Because that would be a real classic, cozy classic. Do I hold it with something, or do I use this and the contrast colours in an actual project? Let me show you the contrast colours. So these are the contrasts. This is kind of like they're not very helpful. 74 mix 1281 FC55 mix. Like not remotely helpful. But this is kind of like the colour palette that I have. And they're really nice together. Like they are very lovely and also quite classic, and I could also use them together. So is there something, sorry my nose is really itchy. Okay, is there something that I could make with these together? I only have one of each of the contrast colours, and then I have 11 balls of the main colour. Or do I pull out the main colour and use these 3 as something else, like mittens, hats, whatever? These would also work together by themselves. What do I do? Somebody enlighten me, please. I think the idea of fingering weight colour work might still be beyond me. I don't think I have that patience. Disclaimer, it's not for me. So I could hold up on something else, like a mohair or like a lace weight alpaca, or I could buy more and like double up. It wasn't particularly expensive, and it's quite an inexpensive yarn. So do I do that, or do I do something else? I don't know. And this is why it's been in my stash for over a year, because I have no idea what to do with it. Interestingly, the second one I'm having issues with is also colour work. So the next group of yarns that I have a big question mark around is some knitting for Olive. This is the merino. It's fingering weight again. They had a sale, well no they didn't have a sale, they had a thing where they put all the proceeds to Ukraine, to, I think it was the Red Cross. I'm pretty sure it was either UNICEF or the Red Cross. And so for one weekend, everything purchased, all the proceeds of everything purchased would be donated to the war in Ukraine. And that's when I placed my first order with Knitting for Olive. And so I bought this colour palette. So I think I have 5 of this one, which is the marzipan, and then 1 ball each of the contrast. How many more times will I drop this before I finish talking about these yarns? Okay, I have 1 ball each of the contrast colours, and these are the contrast colours. So there is Dusty Aqua, Navy Blue, Plum Rose, and Ochre Brown. I also actually, the full story is that they didn't send me the ochre brown at the time I ordered it, and they accidentally sent me dark cognac, which is more of a brown than I planned. So it's a bit more brown. And then I went to Beautiful Knitters in London. And that's where I picked up the right colour. So I do have 1 of this too. So I could technically use this in it as well. I was very inspired by a maker on Instagram called Macy's Knits, who put together, I think she knit both a Straya cardigan by Andrea Mowry and a Friday tee by Petite Knit using 1 pale main colour and then a variety of contrast colours, and I really loved it and thought it looked amazing. But I'm not sure I would get much wear out of it. I'm thinking now, maybe the Straya cardigan I would get some more wear out of. I feel like the Friday sweatshirt tee is not for me. Why? I don't know. So should I use this to make the Straya with these as my contrast? Probably like, be that order. I also could take it to light blue. Like I could if I have enough yarn. Like these 3 as contrast would be lovely. And then I just have a skein for something else. So yeah, maybe the Straya cardigan. Has anyone made the Straya cardigan? Did you like the Straya cardigan? Is it even fingering weight? I don't know. I can tell I'm very organised today. Alternatively, any other great patterns which are very wearable and quite classic, which have contrast, like a couple of contrast colours and a main colour. Let me know, please. Ultimately, this video is just me talking, showing my yarns and begging for help. So that's me done. Those are, I guess, the 10 patterns that I hope to cast on at some point soon. I think there's like an order in there. Like some of them I need to cast on now. Some of them I have to do by Christmas, and then some like I'd like to do, but maybe I won't do them, I'm not sure. And then of course I have some yarn with a big question mark around it. And I don't really mind having yarn in stash, but I like to know what I'll use it for. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope some of these were maybe a little bit inspirational and maybe got you thinking about what you want to knit. But I mostly hope that you have some suggestions for me, some cable knit sweaters, some classic sweaters, and what to do with my Jameson Smith and my Knitting for Olive. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back in a week with the podcast episode. I'll see you then. Bye.